Pete Blackburn, a CBS sports writer, Twitch streamer, Boston Bruins fan, and definitely much shorter than your average bear, unless that bear is Paddington, then he's probably around the same height. You ever wonder what it'd be like if he was an actual NHL player? Well, thanks to NHL 21, we could find out. So let's get into it.
Herotheycallme.
Hey, let's play and welcome to this Pete Blackburn what if scenario where we see what Pete Blackburn would be like if he played in NHL 21. So you see I finally made the Seattle Kraken, so we're actually going to have the Kraken play, and it's not going to be some random made up team I come up with every week. It's a lot easier doing it this way. So let's get into it. So for those of you unaware of how we do things around here, we pick the Seattle Kraken or the custom team. I don't play as them. As you can see, we have auto-signed free agents, auto-staff management. We let them do their own thing. We're just paying attention to where Pete Blackburn gets drafted to, how he does throughout his career. That's all we're checking. And like I said, we don't pay attention to any of this, so auto-generate picks and let the CPU make our team for us. And there you go. That is the Seattle Kraken. You'll never see me play as them again. As we head into the draft, the Ducks have the first pick, Senators have second, Red Wings have third, Senators have fourth, and of course we have the fifth pick. So it's really a crapshoot. I could see Pete Blackburn. I'll show you where he's at right now. I think he should be number one. He's not. He's actually listed as third, so he very well could fall to third. 78 overall, I believe, is what I made him at. We're not going to be able to see that yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's at. So we'll sim the first pick here and see if he goes to Anaheim. They take Alexandrov, so there's a chance Pete Blackburn might end up in Ottawa here. Nope, there's this big chance he'll end up in Detroit, which would be a real good fit, I think. And there he is, Pete Blackburn, drafted to Detroit. He's got a top six, forward high potential, playing for the Red Wings. We'll see how his career goes. So as we look at the Detroit Red Wings offense right here, they don't have Pete Blackburn playing right now. He is on the main team, though. I went to go check Grand Rapids, and he's not there. So obviously, they have him as an extra right now, which is a weird choice, especially for Detroit, because, they're pretty good at building up their prospects. That's one of their main things. They make sure their prospects are ready for the NHL before he starts playing. As you can see, Luke Strayman actually going straight in, so maybe the game doesn't believe that, but... I feel like Detroit is a perfect team for Pete Blackburn to go to. Top six forward potential. Very, very high potential, that is. They're a very young team. They're going to be rebuilding, so you'll have a chance to play with like the Zadinas, the Larkins, so on and so forth. We'll see if he gets any action throughout the season. Obviously, we'll come back at the trade deadline and see if he's played any games. Well, Pete isn't on the Grand Rapids Griffins, that's for sure, and he isn't on the Detroit Red Wings. So, he hasn't played a single game for either team, which is super odd. It's not a very good way of building a prospect, but we'll see what happens next season because he obviously isn't playing this one. I see the issue here. Obviously, there's too many short people in NHL. They already met their quota, so now that Derek Roy is retired at 5'9", that means Pete Blackburn could take a spot. Okay, I get it. The Philadelphia Flyers won the Stanley Cup this year, though. Nathan MacKinnon won the Art Ross and the Hearts. James Norris went to Victor Hedman. Lady Byng to McKinnon. Kirill Kaprizov went to Calder again, as tradition. Conn Smythe went to Konecny. Vasilevsky went to Vezina and William Jennings. Frank Jaselki went to Kopitar. Ted Lindsay and Nathan MacKinnon. And Nathan MacKinnon won the Maurice Richard, so he had a hell of a year. Pete Blackburn played one game. He had 2 shots, 0 on the stat line, but he played a game. Patrice Bergeron is in the free agency market. I couldn't think of a better center to mentor a young left wing than Patrice Bergeron. Maybe the Red Wings will pick him up. Pete Blackburn has jumped up to a 80 overall, the left wing, 19 years of age. Looks like he might have put some pounds on too and grew a bit. I think he was 5'7" when we started this. He's now 5'8". So congrats, man. You're still growing. They picked up David Krejci. That's another good guy to have. They're much stronger down the middle, but it looks like he'll be playing with Joe Veleno and Matt Calvert as the fourth line, which isn't too bad. These two are really young. They could grow together, become the next dynamic duo for the Red Wings, perhaps in the future. But the Red Wings looking pretty good. They got Chara as well. All right, you got some pretty big leaders on this team. It seems like they're making a smart plan over in Detroit. And then they got Marc-Andre Fleury and Jordan Binnington as their goalie. I don't know. Maybe the Detroit Red Wings can do something this year. Pete Blackburn having a hell of a rookie year. 62 games played, 21 goals, 17 assists, 38 points. Pretty damn good. Third best, actually, on the Detroit Red Wings, only behind Larkin and Mantha, who are their 2 best players. So I said that's pretty good. Also a +9, not too shabby. I think he's still playing 4th line minutes. Here are his stats, by the way, if you're interested, because I did not show them yet. That's what he's rocking. That's how I built him. Of course, some of these are a bit higher than they were before, but so far right now, Detroit is good enough for 8th spot in the East. I don't know if that's an actual playoff spot yet. It might not be. But, it's pretty close, so good for them, I guess. Yes, he is indeed still playing fourth line left wing. Does he have any power play time, though? I'm kind of curious. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, he's first line power play, so I guess he gets most of his points there, would be my guess. Oof, Detroit just missing out 88 points. Unfortunately, the way the new playoff system works, they lose out to the 9th place team. The Philadelphia Flyers are at 87 points, so worst team makes the playoffs. I hate how the playoffs work in the NHL now. But they're coming up. They're going to get there. Pete Blackburn finished 4th on his team. He had 32 goals and 20 assists for 52 points with a plus 12. Pretty damn good rookie season. 219 shots, which is pretty crazy. He shot at 14%. We can look at his power play points. He only had 19 of those points on the power play, so that's still very impressive considering he was playing fourth line the entire season, right? He's now at 81 overall, so here is advanced stats if you want to look at those. And we'll have to see what he does in his next season. Hopefully he jumps up a couple lines and gets to play with some more talented players to really show off his potential. Unfortunately for Pete Blackburn, he's going to have to do without Uncle Petuzo, a.k.a. Zdeno Chara, as he is retired at over 1,000, almost 2,000 games played with 700 points. The Buffalo Sabres won the Stanley Cup. Leon Draisaitl on the Art Ross. Hart goes to Tyler Seguin. Heiskanen with the James Norris. Lady Bing to Seguin as well. Calder goes to Dylan Cousins. I'm calling hacks on that. Conn Smythe, Jack Eichel. Carey Price won the Vezina and William Jennings. Frank Jaselki to Barkov. Leon Draisaitl won the Ted Lindsay Award. And Maurice Richard goes to Tyler Seguin. Well, if the Wings are looking for veteran leadership, they have Pacioretty and Jonathan Taves right now in free agency. It would be interesting to see if they sign any of these guys, but I think they're going to continue just to rebuild and go young. We'll see what they do, though. And, well, old Petey boy is moving up slightly. He's gone up to a third line. Him and Joe Valeno actually jumped up together. Now they're playing with Taro Hirose. So a pretty decent third line. Second line is okay, not terrible. Their top line's pretty good as well. So it's going to be hard for Pete Blackburn, I think, to jump up. I feel like he should be able to beat Tyler Bertuzzi next season and be the second line left winger, but I think that's where he's going to stay because I don't think he's going to pass Sedin or Raymond. Defensively, they got Nurse and Klefbom, Hronek, Sider, Cholowski, and Honka. Not a bad decor. Then in nets, Binghamton and Rene. So a decent team. Here we are at the trade deadline, and Pete Blackburn's Detroit Red Wings are 73 points, 63 games, good enough for 7th place right now. 2-point lead over 8th and 9th. A couple more points over Philadelphia, so better odds this year maybe. Pete Blackburn's second on the team in points. He's got 35 goals. What the F, Pete? 17 assists and 52 points. I made him a playmaker and gave him good passing, but apparently he just wants to shoot the puck, and he's shooting it really well right now. He's a -4, though. 82 overall, you can see here. 35 goals, 17 assists, 4 penalty minutes. Stays out of the box. He's only playing 12 minutes on ice each game, which is pretty crazy. Okay, well, his shots gotten ridiculously good. His wrist shot accuracy is 94, so that explains why he's doing so well. His passing's a 99, though, and he only has 17 assists. Seems kind of weird. The Red Wings actually do make the playoffs for the first time since we started, 3 years in. They obviously at the end of Pete's entry-level contract. They managed to make the playoffs, so that's going to look good for him. 98 points, 45 wins, not too bad. Pete finished with 47 goals, 23 assists for 70 points in 82 games. Hell of a season for him, that's for sure. Like I said, he's 85. He jumped three potential the last time we checked. What the F? I guess making the playoffs really boosted his morale. That's crazy. That's his stats now. Oh, he has 2 years left. For some reason, I thought he only had 1. Maybe he signed an extension? I don't know. That's weird. Anyways, the Red Wings are facing off against the Toronto Maple Leafs, so we'll see how they can do against them. They managed to go 7 games against the Leafs, but couldn't pull out that Game 7 victory, so the Leafs are moving on to the second round. I guess Pete Blackburn, even though he's a Bruins fan, doesn't have that Bruins charm in being Leafs in the first round of 7 games. And Pete only put up 3 points, and he was a plus-minus of 0 in the 7 games in his first playoff experience, but it's good, playoff experience for him to have, so. Pittsburgh Penguins went on to win the Stanley Cup. Brock Besser won the Art Ross and the Hart. Jeez. James Norris goes to Victor Hedman. Lady Bing to William Nylander. Calder went to Cole Caulfield. Gensel wins the Conn Smythe. Casey DeSmith won the Vezina. Okay. William Jennings to Mitchell Kovic. Frank Jaselki to Dylan Larkin. Good for you. Brock Besser won to Ted Lindsay. And Maurice Richard went to Alex Ovechkin on the St. Louis Blues. Yuck. It looks like Anthony Mantha is leaving the team, which leaves a big, wide open spot on that top line, or a secondary line, depending on where they had him. For Pete Blackburn to move up for Detroit, but also Alexander Barkov is in free agency. That would be a huge get. Remember when I thought Pete Blackburn wasn't going to be able to throw anyone off that top line? Well, Here he is, top line left winger, playing with Larkin and Kasperi-Kapanen. They actually moved down Zadina and Raymond to play with Veleno. So, and Bertuzzi's fallen all the way to the third line. But still a pretty good-looking team. Not too bad. That's not Jason Palmer. Okay, Jason. I was like, there's no way he's still in the league. Pete Blackburn. Pete Blackburn. I guess Peter would be his professional name. Dylan Larkin, Kasperi-Kapanen should be a hell of a line. Oscar Klefbom and Darnell Nurse team up again. Moritz Seider and Hronek, Honka and Cam York. That's a pretty good defensive core as well. And do they do anything with the goaltending? Still Binghamton. They brought in Olmark now. Okay. Season 4, and Pete Blackburn as a number 1 left winger. His team's in 10th. Not great. Still in striking position, though, for that last spot, if they can get it. But it's not looking good. Old Petey boy, those got 68 points in 62 games played. He's got 43 goals, 25 assists. Seems like Dylan Larkin's Mr. Assister. Well, I was aiming for Pete to be the assister man, but I guess he's the goal scoring machine because, you know, this is probably the reason why, because the game's glitched again where it makes creative players shoot the puck like crazy, but it is what it is. Actually dropped down, and overall he's an 84 now, but there are stats if you want to see, and of course this is his last year on his deal, so we'll see if he gets the big pay raise after this. Oof, the Detroit Red Wings just continued to fall at the break, or at the trade deadline, I should say, all the way down to 14th, almost the worst team in the East. Very, very close. But that's a bad look for Pete Blackburn as the number 1 left wing, as he's about to get his pay raise. I assume he's going to re-sign with the Red Wings, but we'll just have to wait and see. Pete finished with 82 points in 78 games, so he had a hell of a season. Dylan Larkin had an amazing season, 21 goals, 70 assists. Pete Blackburn broke 50 goals for the first time in his career. But not enough to will the team to a cup, or to a playoffs, I should say, and you can tell why. Look at these minus players as their second line unit. That's not great. Bill the Thrill Kessel retired. Oh no! The Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. Austin Matthews won the Art Ross and the Hart. James Norris went to Victor Hedman again. Lady Bing to Kirill Kaprizov. Calder went to Connor Bedard. Conn to Nikita Kucherov. Vezina to Thatcher Demko, and he's playing in Colorado now. Frank Jaselki to Ryan O'Reilly. Austin Matthews won Ted Lindsay, and then Maurice Richard. Brad Marchand's in the free agency pool. Wouldn't it be great if Pete Blackburn and Brad Marchand could be on the same team? For some reason, I thought I was 5 years in. I'm only 4 years in, so I'm just going to correct that right now for those people that are probably like, you idiot. They put Pete Blackburn down to the second line, as you can see here. He's an 87 overall now. He actually went up, so you can see his stats. And his new contract is a 4-year deal at $8.6 million. Pretty good money there, Pete. Playing with Max Domi and Kasperi-Kapanen, so they're keeping him with the same winger, just a different center. Dylan Larkin's got Raymond and Zadina. That's who I assumed he'd be playing with his entire career. Then we got Veleno playing with Soberg and Palmville, Rasmussen, Sillinger, and Zach Cassian as the fourth line. Scott Pernovich as the number 1 defenseman with Shea Theodore, Hronek, Klefbom, York, and Seider now. And their goaltending is Binghamton and Alexander Kagorodov. I guess is how you pronounce that. Ooh boy, not looking any better after Pete Blackburn signs his big contract. The Red Wings are now sitting 16th in the East with 51 points. That's 5 points behind the next lowest, New York Islanders. Let's see what's going on over there. Pete Blackburn is leading the team in points. That's because he's got 233 shots. Fix your game, EA Sports. 32 goals, 27 assists, 59 points in 60 games played. So he's doing his job. Can't say much about the secondary units, though. For the most part, they're not performing at their best. And Jordan Binghamton is doing his job as well. So, yeah, it's just, I guess, Pete Blackburn and Jordan Binghamton leading the team. Yep, Detroit, worst team in the East by far, and worst team in the league by 2 points. Hey, they might get a good draft pick, but they are the Red Wings. They'll probably fall to 4th or 3rd, or wherever how far deep they can fall. Pete finished with 42 goals, 35 assists, and 77 points in 79 games played. Still a great season for him. 306 shots, what the F. Brad Marchand's best friend retired. Vancouver Canucks won the Stanley Cup. Alex Turcotte won the Art Ross. Hart Memorial with Elias Pettersson. Cale Makar won the James Norris. Lady Bing to Turcotte. Colin Memorial went the Corpan. Conn Smythe with the Pettersson. Vezina to Hellebuck. Freddie Anderson won the William Jennings. Frank Selke to Ryan O'Reilly. Ted Lindsay to Pettersson. And Maurice Richard went to Alex Turcotte. And of course, as is tradition, the Red Wings finished worse and they dropped to second. Not as bad as usual, but still hilarious. They end up getting an 81 overall left wing of all things. Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid is in the free agency pool. This is a get for any team. He's 28, dude. He only wants $10.9 million. That is insane. Pete Blackburn jumping back up onto that top left wing spot where he belongs. You can see he's an 87 overall now. There's his stats. Playing with Larkin and Raymond. So we got Zadina Domi captain now. Athanasiou back in Detroit. Sillinger, Schmaltz, Palmaville, Veleno, and Kalinin. Pretty good offensive core. How's their defense looking? Jonathan Hunwick and Theodore, Pernovich and Clefbaum, York and Zider. Still a decent defense as well on paper anyways. And then Alexander Kagorodov is their new starting goalie, 22-year-old, 87 overall. They drafted him second round. That's a pretty good second round pick. And then Jan Bednar is their backup. So if this guy could play well, they could make the playoffs. Well, Detroit is sitting in a playoff spot right now, 7th in the East, but obviously it's a pretty close race between 7th and 9th. A bit of a gap at 10 there, but they're in the playoffs as of right now, so hopefully they can continue to win some games and make the playoffs for the second time in Pete's career. Pete Blackburn once again leading the Red Wings with 65 points, 63 games played. He's got 36 goals, 29 assists. He's at plus 13. Dylan Larkin second close with 54. It kind of falls off after that. Well, we got a couple 40 goal scorers, so that's not too bad, but no one's really putting the puck in the net besides Nick Schmaltz apparently, and I guess Dylan Larkin. Let's see how that new goalie is doing. Is he any good? 9-10, yep, not too bad. The Detroit Red Wings miss out on the playoffs again. Pete Blackburn only has one playoff series of experience in his career thus far. The Boston Bruins finishing the same amount of points, but one extra win get into the final playoff spot. Pete Blackburn miles above his teammates, 44 goals, 39 assists, 83 points in 82 games played. But not enough support, I guess. I don't know if it's the defense. The goaltending seems to be okay, so I don't know if it's that. Pete Blackburn's man crush retires. The Vancouver Canucks go back-to-back for Stanley Cup championships. Matt Boldy won the Art Ross. Hart Memorial goes to Mikko Rantanen on the Dallas Stars. James Norris goes to Quinn Hughes. Braden Point wins to Lady Byng. Calder goes to Tracy, whoever the hell that is. Conn Smythe goes to Reinhardt. Vesna to Thatcher Demko. UC Saros wins to William M. Jennings. Frank Teselki goes to Dylan Larkin again. Ted Lindsay to Mikko Rantanen. And Maurice Richard goes to Kirill Kaprizov for the second time in his career, I think. No, first. I see two Short Kings and ex-Boston Bruins players in free agency again. Brad Marchand here again. And Torrey Krug can join and make the trifecta of Short Kings on Detroit if they were to join Pete Blackburn. A couple new faces on the team. Pete Blackburn dropping back down to an 85, playing with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. Bjorn Molnar, who I believe was the guy they drafted in the first round. Was it? Yep, second overall. So he's taking over for that left wing spot. That's Pete Blackburn's nemesis right now because he's probably going to take that top line left wing spot from him. Max Domi, Andre Kasha. Eli Tolvanen, Nick Schmaltz, Andreas Athanasiou, I should say, if I could speak English, Anthony Duclair, Sillinger, and Veleno. Good offense, like every year. Hunwick, Theodore, Pernovich, Clefbaum, York, and Wallinder. Still a good defense. And the goaltending is still the same guy, so they should be a good team. That's a playoff team on paper anyways. Detroit trading a first-round pick, Evans and Oberg, to get Anthony Mantha back and Ben Hutton. Interesting deal. You could have just signed him when he was a free agent, but you do you. They're doing deals to bring back big-name forwards, but they're sitting 14th in the East. I thought they'd be close to a playoff hunt. They are not. They're like 10 points back, essentially. 12 points back, actually, I think. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Detroit. Maybe it's their coaching. Who knows? Pete Blackburn leading the team, 33 goals, 24 assists, 57 points. Dylan Larkin having a pretty poor year, only 46 points right now. Andre Kasha is doing better than him. The defenseman's doing better than him, Scott Pernovich. So that's interesting. This team is just not good, especially this year. The goaltending's doing poorly as well. So yeah, everything's going reverse Milhouse on them. Look how poor the playoff format is. Boston had 95 points. Columbus 99, Philly 100, New York 100, but they couldn't get in because the Bruins had 95 points and they're third best in the Atlantic Division. Stupid. Detroit finishing 12th in the East. Terrible. Pete Blackburn finished with 76 points. He had 45 goals, 31 assists, 295 shots. Pernovich also had 275, and he's technically a creative player, and that's a defenseman. So yeah, there's definitely some sort of glitch there. Pete Blackburn, 85 overall right now. He hasn't really moved much. He's still, he puts up points like crazy, but he's not doing well in Detroit, or Detroit's not doing well, and he's here. One or the other. He's doing well in Detroit, let's be honest. He's got 2 years left on his contract, so next season will be his last season here, and we'll see if he goes anywhere else. Brad Marchand retires on the San Jose Sharks. Blech. Tampa Bay Lightning win the Stanley Cup again, having a mini franchise going on here with them. They won, and it's like every 3 years they pick up a cup now. Alex Turcotte won the Art Ross Hart Memorial to Austin Matthews. Kale McCarr wins the James Norris. Lady Byng to Jonathan Huberdeau. Consummate the Kucherov. Tarasov won the Vezina, I should say. Demko won the Mem Jennings. Jack Adams went to Mark Giordano as the coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Take that, Flames fans. Frank J. Selke went to Turcotte, Ted Lindsay to Matthews, and Maurice Richard goes to Turcotte. Turcotte killing it right now. Pete Blackburn's favorite defenseman, Quinn Hughes, is chilling in free agency right now. That'd be a big get. Also, Rasmus Sandin, 27-year-olds, and Brady Tkachuk. That's a lot of good players. And some guy named Rockan, who's a 25-year-old right-hand D. Like, there's a lot of good young talent here that they could pick. What is going on in Detroit? They just put Pete Blackburn, the guy who's led their team in points the past couple seasons, down to the third line playing with Schmaltz and Mantha, which is an amazing third line. Don't get me wrong, their offense is insane. I don't know how they managed to get all these high or mid to high 80s on their team. It's pretty crazy. And then Larkin obviously is the number one center, but putting him on the third line seems like a bad decision. Jonathan Hundquick, Theodore Sider, Panovich, Klepon Molinder, they're still good. Like, I don't get it. And like, their goaltending is good. They just don't win. Maybe it's the chemistry, maybe it's the coaching. I don't know. But this is Pete Blackburn's last season. Well, not his last season, but one more year left on his contract at the age of 25. So we'll see if he jumps ship after this one or if he signs a big deal contract to stay here. Oh my God. Pete Blackburn traded to the Florida Panthers for a first-round pick and Selleck. And then Detroit goes down and trades 2 first-round picks to Ottawa for Tim Stützle, Eric Brandstrom, and a 4th. What is going on? Detroit was sitting 13th in the East, so Pete Blackburn just jumped up to 9th with the Florida Panthers. So let's go take a look at the Florida Panthers and see who he's going to be playing with. Pete Blackburn moves on from Detroit to jump to the second line of the Panthers behind Jonathan Huberdeau. Going to be tough to take him off his throne. But he's playing with Dylan Cozens and Henrik Bjorkstrom, which is a pretty good line. You got Anthony Olivier, Ty Dellandra, and Cole Lind, I should say. And Justin Sordif, Jalen Lynn, and Ryan Donato as their bottom. Top line is Lindell and Sprawn. Okay, that's a pretty good team. Jacob Chychrun, Aaron Ekblad, of course. Marie Lee, Adam Larson, Anthony Langkow, and Pedro Morris. So their defense is pretty much made up players. And who they have in nets? Jesper Wallstedt, oh my God. All right, so this is a pretty good team to get traded to. I don't know if he'll sign a new contract here, but it could be decent for a playoff run. Look at that, Pete Blackburn is actually third on his team in points instead of number one. 62 points he played with all of the Detroit Red Wings. Right now he had 62 points, 62 games, he's point per game. Obviously, Lindell and Huberdeau both have more points than him. I'm kind of curious to see if anyone had any better points on Detroit. Okay, Larkin did, so Larkin was actually leading the team in points this time around. Even trading for Pete Blackburn, the Florida Panthers cannot make the playoffs. Missed out by 2 points. Pittsburgh Penguins beat them in. Pete Blackburn, though, killed it. Finished with 91 points. That's the most he's ever put up. But he almost put up like 30-something points coming over. That's insane. Because he was at 60-something, right? Yeah, so, yeah. He put up 29 points with the Florida Panthers in 20 games. That's crazy. Will he sign with Florida or will he go somewhere else, though, is the real question. We're just going to have to find out. Short King Torrey Krug retired. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. Alex Turcotte won the Art Ross again. Patrick Laine won the Hearts. Owen Power won the James Norris. Lady Byng goes Pedersen. Conn Smythe to Austin Matthews. Vezina to Elvis Merzlikins as a Boston Bruin. I would love that. William Jennings to Capo Kakkonen. Frank J. Selke to Sean Couturier. Patrick Laine wins to Ted Lindsay. Alex Turcotte won the Maurice Richard. Pete Blackburn decided to re-sign with the Florida Panthers 3 years at $7.39 million. That's actually less than he signed for with the New Jersey Devils on his last contract, so that's interesting. He's also an 88 overall now, so that's pretty good for him. I assume he's going to tear it up over in Florida. There's a lot of good players sitting here in free agency. As you can see, Alexei Lafreniere is up here as well. That's pretty impressive. A lot of good players in the free agent pool this year. As you can see, Jonathan Huberdeau is still the number one left wing on this team, but he is 35. He's fallen off. Pete Blackburn should be able to take that spot for him when he turns 27 next year. We'll see, though. Antoine Lindell and Daniel Sprong as their top line. That's Pete, Anthony Beauvillier, Tyler Toffoli, Danton Heinen, Henrik Bjorkstrom, and Cole Linds. And Justin Sordif, Ryan Donato, and getting Svechnikov. Not terrible. Defensively, they got Murray, Lee, Ekblad, Lankow, Chychrun, Morris, and Tucker. Decent D still, as same as last time. And their goaltending is a bit weak, to say the least. Is this guy going to be any good? He's an elite medium backup right now. So yeah, he's going to be a goalie of the future if he's able to grow. He's 24 already, so he's going to have a good season if he wants to go up to like in the 80s. Florida Panthers are currently sitting 7th in the East, but 3rd in their division, so that's a guaranteed playoff spot if they're able to keep up that spot. Pretty close race, between 3rd and 4th here, and 3rd, quite honestly. It's anyone's game if they play well. A couple teams right behind them, though, but of course the closest team, of course, is Detroit. That'd be interesting if Detroit was able to take that spot from Florida. It is a very, very close race, so it's very possible it might happen. Florida's got to stay on their toes. Pete Blackburn leading the Panthers with 44 goals, 33 assists, and 77 points. Absolutely ridiculous. This boy shoots a lot. Having a great season as a second-line winger. Even his line mates aren't even doing nearly half as good as what he's doing. Let's see how that rookie goalie was doing for them. Okay, it looks like he's splitting time with Binghamton, and he's not doing too hot. Has he grown at all? No, he hasn't. Pete Blackburn and the Florida Panthers managed to make it into the playoffs to finish 7th in the East to make the matchup against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round, I believe, the defending Stanley Cup champions. Pete Blackburn breaking 50 goals again, 51 goals, 36 assists for 87 points, carrying the team. Well, I guess Lindell and Herbador are doing well as well. 70 points isn't nothing to scoff at, that's for sure. Goalies, Jordan Binghamton looks like he took over the starting role near the end there. But Malkin definitely picked up his play in the second half. He's 906 now, so good for him. And sure enough, it is Toronto versus Florida in the first round. Let's see if the Florida Panthers got better success in the playoffs than the Detroit Red Wings did. The Panthers defeat the defending Stanley Cup champions 4-1. Now they got to face off against their state rival in the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's a Battle of Florida in the second round. Pete Blackburn in his second playoff attempt has much better stat numbers. 5 games played, he's got 7 points, 5 goals, so he has a goal in each game. Pretty damn impressive, leading his team. So is Henrik Bjorkström, he's got 7 points as well. Great start for these two. The Florida Panthers win the Battle of Florida, beating Tampa Bay 4-2 in the second round. The Florida Panthers, Pete Blackburn, going as far as he's ever gone, made the right choice, I guess getting traded to Florida and then signing with them, because now he's in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see who's on that Hurricanes roster. Pete's got 10 goals in 11 games now and 13 points, just scoring his way, willing his team to victory. Carolina Hurricanes have Jacob Vrana, Sebastian Aho, and Martin Necas as their top line. Galchenyuk, Kuznetsov, and Svechnikov, Zari, Ponomarev, Fogle, Formanton, Archer, and Bach. Pretty good team. Defensively, they got Fleury, Lundqvist, Gilbert, Kessel, Wynot, and Clifton. And in nets, they have UC Saros. So defensively, not the strongest and not very strong in nets either. Florida has moved Pete Blackburn up to the top line. He's playing right wing now with Lindell and Herbador. Seems like a smart thing to do. It looks like they're missing somebody on this left. I think on this left side, I think they have missed somebody. Heinen was up here originally. Maybe it's a centerman that got hurt. Who knows? But that's a pretty powerful top line defense. Pretty much the same, except for Ludwig is in action now, and the goaltending is Binghamton still starting for them. Okay. The Florida Panthers beat Carolina in 7 games. They're going against the Colorado Avalanche. Pete Blackburn is 4 wins away from becoming a Stanley Cup champion. It was Daniel Sprong who was injured because now he's back on his top spot on the right wing. So Blackburn moves back down to the second line, but they have Lindell playing with him, and they put Borgstrom on top, I should say. So that's interesting. Defensively, they're still relatively the same. And let's check out Colorado. I'm sure they're a beast team. Alex Newhook, Nathan McKinnon was 99 overall. Pavel Buchnevich, Eli Tolvanen, Thomas Yurko, Radish, Leduc, Bochenski, Kelly, Ritchie, Carlson, and Suominen. And defensively, they got Bowen Byron and Cal McCarr. That's going to be a deadly duo in real life. Sam Gerard, Connor Timmins, another good duo. And then David Taves and Gavrikov. And then in nets, they have Askarov. Okay, I don't like our odds, but we'll see. Here we go. Let's see if Pete Blackburn has what it takes to beat Nathan McKinnon. They're already down 1-0. Nathan McKinnon's team is pretty powerful, so I don't like the odds. 2-0 it is. 2-1. All right, well, they got at least 1 out of them. Can they get tied up at 2? 2-2. Here we go, boys. Pete Blackburn fighting his will. Oh, my God, just 1 more game away. Can Pete Blackburn become a Stanley Cup champion? Pete Blackburn and the Florida Panthers are your Stanley Cup champions, defeating the huge, I guess, monsters of Colorado, the Monstars, if you will, and overcoming the odds and winning the Stanley Cup. Connor McDavid won the Art Ross and the Hearts. James Norris went to Mikhail Sergachev. The Brinkat won the Lady Bing. Consummate went to Jonathan Herbador. Vezina went to Allenfelt. And so the William Jennings. Frank Selke went to Antoine Lundell, Ted Lindsay to Connor McDavid, and Reese Richard went to Cole Caulfield. So no single awards for Pete Blackburn yet, but he is a Stanley Cup champion. Pete actually finished with 27 points, the same amount as Huberdeau, and put up 18 goals, but they gave it to Mr. Assister instead in Jonathan Huberdeau. That's an interesting choice. I'm not sure why they would do that. Usually it's the goal scorer who would get it, but I guess Jonathan Huberdeau is just amazing, so good for him. I don't think Pete cares too much. He's a Stanley Cup champion. Bruins legend Brett Connolly retires. Looks like Daniel Sprong is moving on in free agency, so we'll see if that puts Pete up on the top line with Huberdeau and either Lundell or Bjorkstrom. We'll see if they go out and find another winger to play the spot. Pete Blackburn indeed takes Jonathan Huberdeau's spot on the top line, but he drops down to an 86 overall now. Weird. Don't understand how that happens. Anton Lundell dropped to I don't even went up to an 89. I think he was an 88. Daniel Sprong does come back after all. I guess he decided that Florida is where he wanted to be. So it's Huberdeau, Borgstrom, and Heinen now. Beauvillier, I should say, and Svechnikov, Ryan Donovan, and Bourdon. Defensively, Morgan Riley. All right, so they picked up a big defenseman. So they got Ekblad now, Lee and Langkow, Morris and Tucker as their defense. And then in nets, Malkin jumped to an 81, so he actually did grow a bit. And then Binghamton, who's fallen down to a 79. And just like that, the defending Stanley Cup champions are dead last in the East with 43 points in 63 games. What the F, this game. Pete Blackburn, though, continues to lead his team in points, 31, 31, 62 in 63 games. Hell of a season, well balanced, but he can't do it all by himself, and he's not getting much help besides from Antoine Lundell. Hopefully they can find someone, because obviously Huberdeau's out the door pretty soon, I want to say, as he only put up 36 points so far in 63 games and is a minus 17. Looks like they might have brought in Michael DiPietro to solve their goaltending issues, but because I don't see the other guy here. He might be injured, but he's doing okay. So, and this bipolar career continues for Pete Blackburn and the Panthers as they finish dead last. A year away from winning the Stanley Cup, now they finish dead last in the entire league. I don't know. Pete finished with 48 goals, 37 assists for 85 points. Closest to him was Antoine Lundell, 66. Sprong was 61, and Morgan Riley, pretty damn good year for Morgan Riley, with 61 points as a defenseman. Well, you have the answer to the question, who is better between Tyler and Taylor, and it clearly was Tyler Seguin, as he finished with almost 200 more points than, almost 200 more points than Taylor Hall. Played a couple more games, though, so who knows, but you decide in the comments, I guess. The LA Kings won the Stanley Cup. Connor Bedard won the Art Ross. Connor McDavid won the Hart Memorial. Owen Power won the James Norris. Lady Bing goes to the Brinkett. Conn Smythe to Korpin, so made-up guy. Vezina to Kagorodov. Milano Jennings to Kagorodov. Heiskanen with the Bill Masterson. Frank Selke goes to Pedersen. Ted Lindsay goes to Bedard, and Bedard wins from Reese Richard. The Florida Panthers actually have the number one pick. Yeah, I know. They finished dead last, and somehow they got the number one pick. What is this? This game's broken. All right, so we'll see who they get with that pick. They get an elite left-wing sniper. So someone to replace Jonathan Huberdeau or someone to replace Pete Blackburn if he walks after the season. Two former Red Wings are in the free agency market right now, Mantha and Larkin. It'd be interesting to see if they somehow make their way to Florida to team up with their former line mates in Pete Blackburn. The Florida Panthers actually brought in Jay Gensel to take over for Pete Blackburn on the top line. Interesting decision there. Let's see how it plays out for them. Pretty much the top lines haven't changed. Svechnikov moves up, I believe, but Sordif is here. Godet's a new acquisition. Bourdon's still here. Teravainen's a new acquisition, I believe, as well. Lynn and Magnon, I think, were here last season. Tucker, Ekblad. Morgan Riley's fallen down to an 84. Langkow, Boret, and Lee. Looks like it might be time for Pete Blackburn to get out of Florida, because it looks like retirement village is coming for this team right now. He's 28. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Those are his stats if you wanted to see. He's an 88 overall again. So the Florida Panthers are sitting in 8th spot right now, but also I think 3rd in their division. Detroit's right behind them by 2 points. That'd be interesting if it came down to Florida and Detroit again to get into the playoffs, but we'll have to see. Pete Blackburn, another 50-goal season in 63 games right now, 26 assists for 76 points on the team. Leaps and bounds above anybody else. I don't know how this team is in a playoff spot right now with this kind of goaltending and the lack of production from the other teammates. A lot of 30-point getters, I guess, so maybe it's just balanced scoring and decent defense. And the Florida Panthers just edge out the Detroit Red Wings. Just 1 point. That's all it took, and they managed to get into the playoffs. Another playoff run for Pete Blackburn. Pete finished with 91 points, 62 goals, and 29 assists. I think that might be his best production that he's done in his career. Those 62 goals, maybe the best point production he's done in his career. It has. Best year of his career, which is a good time to have your best year because you're on a contract here. So we'll see if he has a better year by winning another Stanley Cup or not. He's got to face off against the Montreal Canadiens in the first round, though, if he wants to get to that Stanley Cup final. Pete Blackburn and the Florida Panthers managed to beat the Montreal Canadiens in 6 games. They got to face off against the Toronto Maple Leafs again in the second round. So this should be a good battle for the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. If they could get past the Maple Leafs, you never know. Pete Blackburn led the way on his team with Antoine Lundell both putting up 7 points in 6 games. Borgstrand with 6 points in 6 games. A lot of different point getters here. Getting some much-needed secondary scoring, that's for sure. Florida wins in 7 games, going to the conference finals again. And this time they're going to face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pete Blackburn has 15 points now in 13 games. He's got 12 goals. Boy's supposed to be a playmaker. All he does is shoot the puck. It'll be interesting to see what he does in the offseason. This is a far run. This is a fairy tale run because they're the 8th seed, so we'll see. Here's the Panthers lineup. If you forgot what it looks like, pretty much the same. I don't see any big difference at all. Nope, it's pretty much the same team. The Pittsburgh Penguins have Joel Grabowski, JT Miller. How is this? Wait, look at this team. I'm not even going to go through it. Just look at them. How are they this far? Defensively, nothing special. The goalies, what? What is this? The Pittsburgh Penguins swept us. And then they're already up 2-0 on Vancouver. This sim engine is broken to all hell. The man who threatened to knock out Jake Paul retires. Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup. Ridiculous. Adam Turcotte won the Art Ross. Hart Memorial goes to Matthews. Liegren wins to James Norris. Lady Bing goes to Turcotte. Calder doesn't matter. Conn Smythe goes to Grabowski. Vezina goes to Kagorodov. And same with William Jennings. Frank Jaselki to Kotkaniemi. Ted Lindsay to Matthews. And Reese Richard to Connor Bedard again. Pete Blackburn decides to stay in Florida, signing a big-time 7-year contract at $10.59 million. Will make him 36 when the contract is up. Could be a possible retirement contract at the end of this, or he might play a couple more years, who knows. But he is an 89 overall now. There are his stats, and we'll see if the Florida Panthers could build around him. Matvei Vinchkov is in the free agency market. He's a big-time right winger. That would help if they were able to pick him up. But at the same time, we just saw Pittsburgh win the Stanley Cup with a bunch of low 80s and 70s on their team, so who the hell knows in this game. You can see the Florida Panthers already went down to an 86. Pete Blackburn, hilarious. Lundell and Gensel as a 86, 86, 86 overall as their top line. And they brought in, or this is the guy they drafted, I think, Zachary Magnon, who's already an 87 after 1 year. That's freaking impressive. So he's going to be the face of the franchise in a year, that's for sure. Team looks pretty much the same. Defensively, pretty much the same as well. And then goaltending is the exact same. So, I don't know. I was able to get them to 8th place. Hopefully with the growth of Mangon, they could actually do something, but we'll have to wait and see. The Florida Panthers are 2nd in the East. Of course, you know who's better than them? The Detroit Red Wings. But looks like they'd have to really fumble to not make a playoff appearance this year. Pete Blackburn leading the team with 68 points, 34 goals, 34 assists. You know, Mr. Consistent here with his goals and his assists. Zachary Mangon is actually really good too. He's got 36 goals, actually leading the team in goals. So new goal scorer, so that's probably going to help out Pete's chances of making the playoffs every year. How's the goaltending looking? Pretty decent. That's surprising. Well, the Florida Panthers almost did their best to blow it up because they had 97 points. It's close, not that close, but close enough that they fell from 2nd all the way to 7th or to 6th or 5th. My goodness, I can't speak English. But good enough for the playoff picture. They lost the home seat advantage, though, to Toronto. And I guess who they're going to be playing in the first round again? Toronto. Pete Blackburn, 48 goals, 47 assists, 95 points. That's a new personal best. I believe he had 91 last season. He did. So another good year. It seems like people start to play really well in their early 30s in this game, from what I've noticed from these career sims. And of course, like I said, Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Possible matchup with Detroit in the second round, though. That'd be really interesting. The Toronto Maple Leafs best the Florida Panthers and Pete Blackburn in the first round of this year's playoffs, and Detroit didn't win either, so that kind of sucks. We could have had that matchup, but the NHL doesn't get what it wants sometimes. Pete finished with 5 points, didn't score more than a goal, though. Only 1 goal in 6 games, which is kind of odd for him, but he had 4 assists. Bruins sniper Anders Bjork retires. Edmonton Oilers won the Stanley Cup. Alex Newhook won the Art Ross. Tim Stützle wins the Hart Memorial. James Norris goes to Adam Fox. Nathan McKinnon wins Lady Bing. Conn Smythe goes to Connor McDavid. Vezina goes to Matt Sargard and then William Jennings as well. Mark Giordano once again won the Jack Adams with the Edmonton Oilers. Frank J. Selke goes to Con, whoever that is. Tim Stitzel wins the Ted Lindsay. And Connor Bedard wins the Maurice Richard, tied with Tim Stitzel. But that's 3 years in a row now for Connor Bedard. Looks like Connor McDavid's done with the Edmonton Oilers, winning a Stanley Cup and saying, I'm out of here. Oh, freaking shit. That is a top line and a half right there. Zachary Mangon. They picked up Shane Wright to be their number 1 center. And Pete Blackburn, oh man, has a 90 overall, highest he's gotten thus far. That's going to kill. Lundell, Borgstrom, and Radish are just second. They got Bourdon, Rowan, Greenway. Pretty good offense. Defense is pretty lackluster, to be honest. And then in net's pretty bad. But we saw how well Pittsburgh did with lackluster. So we'll see if this lineup right here can put up at least 100 points apiece. It should. The Florida Panthers with their superstar top line are dead last in the East. This game, I tell you. Shane Wright actually in the team in points right now is 73. Way more than Pete Blackburn, who's having I wouldn't say a down year. You know, he's almost performing at a point per game. That's usually where he's at. And then Mangon, who's only got 50 points in 62 games. Lundell's got 50 points. It's just they're not getting enough out of this top line, and they should. That is the reason why they are not even close to the playoffs. The Florida Panthers finished dead last again in the East, or in the league, I should say. I don't understand how this team, this is the most bipolar team ever. Shane Wright finished with 87 points. Pete Blackburn, one of his worst seasons, I want to say 70 points. Let's take a look. 70 points. He's still got, 6 years left on his deal? Crazy. 70 points. So he had more than 70 in this year. 77 here. 70 points was his second year in the league? Yeah. Second year in the league. So he's and he was on minus 29. Oh my god. Whew. Not a good look. The Joker IRL retired. The Arizona Coyotes won the Stanley Cup. Matt Boldy won the Art Ross. Hart Memorial went to Elias Pettersson. James Norris, Owen Power again. Lady Bing to Elias Pettersson. Conn Smythe to Clayton Keller. Vezina to Yaroslav Askarov. Jack Adams went to Anze Kopitar as the coach of the Anaheim Ducks. Oh my goodness. Frank J. Selke went to Hendrix Lapierre. Ted Lindsay went to Elias Pettersson. And Maurice Richard to Connor Bedard again. This dude is killing it. This time the Florida Panthers finished dead last, but they fell to 4th. And they missed out on 280 overall elite talents, 178, and they got a top 6 high because they missed out on this right wing, but I guess they wanted a centerman. The Florida Panthers still have that deadly line of Pete Blackburn, Shane Wright, and Zachary Mangon. Lundell's still here as well. The team looks pretty much the same offensively, defensively. They're still missing. They picked up Scott Pernovich. All right, so he's back, but they're still missing a few pieces, I think, defensively. And how is the goaltending situation? Mackenzie Blackwood and Ilya Samsonov, so I guess it's better than it was last season. Pete Blackburn's Florida Panthers sitting second in the East. Pretty big gap, too. 4 points back of course, the number 1 Detroit Red Wings. No shocker there. So yeah, guaranteed playoff spot pretty much, unless they royally mess it up. Pete's back on top of his team, just where he should be. He's got 63 games played, 47 goals, 45 assists for 92 points. That is insane. That's an insane total. And look, the big guys are actually scoring this year, and that's what I said they had to do last year, and they're doing it, and they're one of the best teams in the league. Panthers finished second in the East with 113 points, only 3 back to Detroit, but Detroit takes it all. Pete Blackburn answers back from his poor performance last season by putting up 114 points, 60 goals, 54 assists for his best total as of yet, for sure, right? It's the first time he's broken 100, I want to say. It absolutely is. Yeah, so it's a big 100 points for Pete. Not the most goals he's ever put up, but definitely the most points. Look at those assists, too. My goodness. And the Panthers have the Ottawa Senators in the first round. And of course, the Senators sweep the Panthers in the first round. What else is new, right? Look at this retiree class right now. Nathan McKinnon, Jack Eichel, Braden Point, Sebastian Aho, Dylan Larkin, Matt Tkachuk. My God, that is insane. For some strange reason, they switched Zachary Mangon with Pete Blackburn. They switched sides this year. Pete Blackburn has dropped down to an 86 overall. There's his stats if you want to see them. He is, 32? Yeah, 32 years of age. Looks like they got Pierre-Luc Dubois now as their second line center. They lost Lundell. A couple other players here. Maybe some new guys. I can't really tell. They're all, I think that's Tyson Jost was here before. I can't remember. Whatever. Defensively, they got Tucker and Bremberg, Lankau, Kessel, Kulak, and Pernovich. So defense looking kind of the same. They got Stu Skinner and Bachman there. He lost their goaltending duo, and I don't know. I don't think this is going to do it for him. Panthers are holding on to the 8th spot right now. Look who's right behind them, though. The Detroit Red Wings, also Tampa Bay. So it's going to be a three-way race for that 8th spot, it seems. Pete once again leading his team in points. Him and Shane Wright seem to be a pretty good combo together. Each pretty much close with point totals each year. Seems like Pete Blackburn is the shooter, while Shane Wright is the setup man. See if they could continue their play. Obviously, Mangon is going to have to start playing better. Obviously, he missed a couple games. But if he continues to put up some points, then I think they'll get that 8th spot for sure. Or talk about finishing off the season strong. The Florida Panthers from 8th to 2nd place in the Eastern Conference. Holy crap. Pete Blackburn finishing with 100 points on the season, 57 goals, 43 assists. Hell of a season again for Pete. Once again, I said I don't think this team's going to make it, and they proved me wrong. This game, I don't understand how it works. Panthers are going head-to-head with the Ottawa Senators again. We'll see if they have a better outcome this year. Last year we got sweeped. This year we are the sweeper. The broom comes out as the Florida Panthers sweep the Ottawa Senators in the first round, going to face off against Toronto in the second round now. Pete had 4 points in 4 games, 1 goal, 3 assists to start off his playoff run. But that's where the Florida Panthers' dreams will come crashing down as the Toronto Maple Leafs beat them in 7 games to go on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Pete finished with 13 points in 11 playoff games. So did Shane Wright. Those two are a dynamic duo, that's for sure. Another one of Pete's man crushes retired. The Edmonton Oilers won the Stanley Cup. Connor Bedard won the Art Ross. Hart Memorial went to Jacino, whoever that is. James Norris went to Hanathan. Lady Bing to Atu Ratti. Conn Smythe to Valcourt. Vezina to Bartek. We're getting into that area where everyone's made up. Francis Selke to Matt Savoie. Ted Lindsay to Jacina, and Connor Bedard with Maurice Richard. Again, my God, this guy. We got the same starting lineup here, but Pete is fallen. He's an 84 now. He's getting up there in his age, 33 years of age. We'll see if he can still put up the same numbers. You know, he's had 2 of his best seasons thus far. Looks like we're losing some of our depth pieces and not really replacing them. Defensively, same thing. What about in goaltending? Oof, not looking good. Panthers sitting pretty comfortably in 5th place right now. Pretty good gap between the 8th spot, 12 points. So I'm pretty positive they're going to make the playoffs. Pete's got 43 goals and 26 assists in 63 games for 69 points. Pretty damn good for a 34-year-old. I believe he's got 1 more year on his contract. No, 2 more after this. Okay, good to know. And here we go again. It's the Florida Panthers versus the Ottawa Senators in the first round. Pete finished with 90 points, a little bit less than he had last season, but still 55 goals is pretty damn impressive. And the Panthers have been eliminated from the playoffs, once again, by the hand of the Ottawa Senators. Pete played 5 games, had 4 goals and 4 points, so it wasn't his fault. Another stacked retirement class with Connor McDavid, Matthews, Pastrnak, Marner, DeBrincat, Line, Rantanen, Connor, and Caulfield. My goodness. The St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup. Connor Bedard won the Art Ross. Connor Bedard won the Hart Memorial. James Norris went to Malcolm Doolin. Lady Bing to Alex Turcotte. Conn Smythe to Verkunen. That's just butchered that name. Meyer won the Vezina. Volchenkov won the other thing. That doesn't matter. Shane Wright won the Francis Selke, a member of the Florida Panthers, and Connor Bedard won the Ted Lindsay. And he got dethroned finally by Michkov. Interesting. And Turcotte, I guess. Pete Blackburn now an 82 overall at the age of 34. 2 years left on his deal. Might be a retirement deal, like I said earlier. Shane Wright and Bergwaz, I guess is how you pronounce that. Mangon has actually dropped down to the second line, which is interesting. And then their center depth is not great at all. Defensively, they brought in Jake Sanderson. He's pretty good, or at least he should be in real life. And then goalie-wise, still not great. But every time I say they're not great, they do well. So they're going to do well this year. See, I told you they're going to do well. They're 12th place. Reverse jinx. 8 points behind 8th. So, not looking good for the Florida Panthers. How are things for Pete Blackburn? He's sitting with 59 points in 63 games, 28 goals, 31 assists. He's at minus 26, so that's not very good. And 25 of his points are on the power play, so he's definitely a power play specialist. Panthers finished 13th. They're actually a few points back of making the playoffs again, which is ridiculous, but not a great team. Pete finished with 84 points, 3rd on his team. That's the first time in a while that he's been 3rd. It looks like Shane Wright and Mangon actually became the 2 main guys. It looks like Pete is probably going to fall down to that second line, perhaps 3rd line next season. We'll see where he's at in his last contracted year for the Florida Panthers. The less talented Nylander retired. Only fitting that the Ottawa Senators would have won the Stanley Cup, sneaking into that 8th spot. Schofield won the Ross in the Hart. Clark won the James Norris, a real player. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to name up the real players if I see them, because at this point, just for Wallstead with the Vezina, there's like really no point, made up players. No one cares about made up players. And Connor Bedard takes back his Maurice Richard trophy. Here we go in what might be Pete's last season as a Florida Panther. It might be his last season overall if he retires at the end of the year. He is an 80 overall. It's very possible he might retire at the end of the year. 35 years of age. He'll be 36 at the end of the year. Here are his stats if you want to see them. He's playing with Wright and Mangon again, so they're keeping that line together. Seems like they brought in some extra players, a little bit more depth now on this team. Defensively, they've gotten a little bit better, it looks like. And then in nets, they have 2 okay goalies. So we'll see if this could be Pete's last chance at a cup or not. Pete Blackburn and the Panthers are sitting 6th place right now. They have 74 points. Detroit and Buffalo right behind them, though. So is Tampa Bay. It's a close race, and all those teams are Atlantic teams, so that's not what you want to see if you're the Florida Panthers right now. But right now, holding on to that 3rd spot in the Atlantic, so they need to keep that. They want to guarantee themselves a playoff spot. Pete Blackburn is leading the team in points in his last season, perhaps, with the Panthers. Got 36 goals, 33 assists, 69 points. Nice. In 63 games played. The Panthers just making it 3 points above the Sabres, 95 points in 82 games for 7th place in the East. In what might be Pete Blackburn's last season in the league or just as a Panther, he put up 43 goals, 42 assists, 85 points in 82 games. Pretty damn impressive for a 36-year-old. We got the Panthers versus the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round. And the Panthers just barely beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-3 7-game series. Moving on to the next round to face off against the Columbus Blue Jackets, the number 1 seed in the league, I think. And the Florida Panthers were no match for the Columbus Blue Jackets as they beat us 4-1 in the second round. Blackburn not having a great playoff series, 12 games played, only had 5 points and only 1 goal. There it is. Pete Blackburn does decide to call it a career after that. At the age of 36, he played 1,385 games, 820 goals, 614 assists, 1,434 points, so more than a point per game on his career. Hell of a career for Pete Blackburn. Pete Blackburn retires as a 1-time Stanley Cup champion. He's also the leading goal scorer of all time on the Florida Panthers. It's a pretty good award to have. Let's see how his season stats go. Did he win anything? He had the most points in one season as a Panther and the most goals one season as a Panther. It's impressive as well. He didn't play as a rookie. Let's check if he had any single records here. He did not. But great career sim for Pete Blackburn. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it if you did watch it. If you guys feel like seeing any more content, make sure to stay to the little credit scene here, because you can click on some more, or you can just, like and subscribe and share with your friends. That would help as well. And I will catch you next week for another NHL video. So until next time, Herotheycallme for life.